Final race for the round for Marc Cars Australia here at Sydney Motorsport Park. Joined by a few other categories out there as well, Gary O'Brien, to finish out the weekend for them before they head to Phillip Island for the final round of the championship.
Yeah, while it's the last race for points in the Marc Cars Championship, it's also a butcher's picnic. Now, if you're fairly new to motorsport, you won't have any idea what a butcher's picnic is, but basically any category of a similar sort of nature, like production cars or improved production or anything with a body on it, basically, can run in this particular race. They used to have butcher's picnic back in the old days of Warwick Farm and Oran Park and Amaroo, and it's an innovation that they've brought on here this weekend just to give anyone who wanted an extra run, no extra money involved, and it's always a good chance to get out there and have a bit of a go. So looking at the field, and obviously the Marc cars will be there. Steve Lacey's car's there as well, even though it's as a sports sedan. I wonder if he's changed it.
Yeah, put it into Marc settings.
In Marc specs, well, we don't know that. So we'll just have to assume that it's still a sports sedan. We've got David Valeo there in the Porsche, Anthony Skinner in the Porsche, Axel Donaldson in his Mark II Mustang, Tim Leafhead in the Mark 1, Marcel Zula, followed by Kurt McCready, Aaron Gretsch and Annabelle Rolfer. I think that makes up our field.
I was going to say, I think they've just put the sports sedans on the back.
Yeah, they're not.
If they were there, but
there's
none of them there. So
yeah,
we'll wait for timing to.
And even some of the
update.
ones I've mentioned, I don't think are there as well. But I can tell you that Annabelle Rolfer is the last car on the grid, and I think Gretsch is there as well. So
waiting for lights out for this, the final race of the Marc Cars Australia Championship round here at Sydney Motorsport Park. Jeff Taunton and Steve Lacey, your front row of the grid. Taunton has got 3 victories already from the sports sedans combined with Marc Cars round. Looking to make it 4 from 4. Lacey all over the back of him down through turn 1.
Axel Donaldson up the 3rd spot already, ahead of Leafhead, followed by Crossing, who was leading the Marc Cars series coming into this round. Not sure if he's still in front or not. Kurt McCready there in the improved production under 2 litre Nissan S13 having a run as well.
We come over the hill for the first time. So here we go. We get our first look at the lineup of where they sit in the race. Donaldson sitting in 3rd place. Lythead is in 4th. Behind him. I think timing has not picked up Crossing across the timing line, because he's definitely sitting right there in front of McCready. So come over the hill for the first time into turn 6. A bit of a gap between.
And it looks like the Porsches are there either. So did see them in the dummy grid. So whether they decided not to have a run, I don't know. But anyway, they're not there. So it's Marc Cars at the front, followed by an improved production car, and there is one production car at the back having an extra run. So all good stuff. And Kurt McCready certainly giving the Mark 1 cars a bit of a hurry up as they come down to complete their first lap of what was to be a 20-minute race. Obviously a fair bit of time's already been taken up getting the cars from the dummy grid out to the start line, and
Donaldson warming the tyres down the main straight.
Still doing some warm-up stuff with the tyres.
I don't think the temperature has really dropped that much here this afternoon. What we got, 20 degrees.
Yeah, so it's quite pleasant. It is overcast, but it's certainly not cold, and there's virtually no breeze.
No. We've avoided the rain as well. We shouldn't be seeing any of that during this last Marc Cars Australia race here.
You may have just put a curse on that.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens as Crossing comes down into turn 2 and close the gap a little bit to Lighthead.
There's rain predicted for later tonight, but at the moment we had a couple of little sprinkles there before the HQ race, but nothing since.
If we had have been doing what these Marc Cars can do in 24-hour endurance racing, we'd see some rain later tonight under lights, but we'll all be out of here and home comfortably before that happens, I would believe, as we keep an eye on this battle between Crossing and Lighthead.
Yeah, the 2 Mark 1 cars. That particular one, the number 67, is a total rebuild from an incident earlier on, not this weekend obviously, but that car's basically brand new, and we did see it parked in the first race this morning that they were out in, because it had a loose wheel and he didn't want to tempt fate and have it come off at the wrong place, so he just pulled up.
So used all of the road there.
and then some.
And
yeah.
then a little bit of the dirt that we've seen spear other cars
So
in that
this
right-hand
is
wall.
John
here.
Crossing, our series leader, coming into this round. But I think with Taunton winning the 3 races so far today, plus yesterday's, well, 2 races today plus yesterday's, that may be different. Not sure about Steve Lacey. This is running as a sports sedan. Whether he's changed it for this race, I'm not sure, but certainly going out for a run. And as I say, a Butcher's Picnic were huge back in the 60s and early 70s, where you've got to see lots of different category cars running against each other.
Well, Taunton's opened 4.2 seconds on Lacey in the first couple of laps here, and further, 5 seconds back to Donaldson in the Mark II car. There's Taunton making his way through turn 6. I think the traction control and the stability control that they're allowed to run in Marc cars is helping him over the sports sedan variety that Lacey's
but he
running.
runs a lot less throttle than he can in the sports sedan, so not using all the horsepower that's under that bonnet of that car.
It does seem a little bit slow out of... Now we're warming the tyres. I wonder if we're aiming to go for a quick lap or what's happening here, because he's slowed dramatically out of the hairpin and then weaved down the back straight, almost like we are trying to just warm the tyres up a bit.
Maybe go for
Backing
a,
up
as you
into
say.
Steve Lacey. See what happens now.
Maybe we're having a bit of a play.
Yeah, it's very hard to tell with these sort of things, isn't it? As Lacey now goes through into the lead of the race.
Of course, Taunton's nearest rival will be Donaldson. That's the car that's behind him along pit. Now he seems to be having a bit more of a go.
It's definitely got pace now, so not exactly sure why he would have let Lacey pass there. I guess there's no championship implications for him in that.
They both seem to be a bit off the pace, don't they?
Yeah, well, 134 last lap for Lacey, 133 best lap for Taunton.
And he has done I think he said he's seen a 29 point something on the dash in qualifying, so the car's got a lot more speed in it.
Donaldson is in third with a 136 best lap, which was the second lap of the race. We're now on lap 4 with 11 minutes remaining of the day here for Marc Cars. We've got a battle for the lead.
Donaldson on his own in third spot, Leafhead in fourth. Then we've got should have Crossing. Oh no, Crossing's fallen back behind McCready, so we've missed that one. And Rolfer, who might end up being lapped in pretty quick time. I would imagine a production car would have nowhere near the pace of one of these. So let's see what the lap times are for this lap. It'll give us an indication of what is likely to happen in the last 10 minutes or so of this race. So 33-4, 33-4 for both of them. So still a bit of pace there. And now we can see that Taunton's right on the back of Lacey, and knowing Steve, if he thinks Jeff will want to do a quick lap, he'll let him go. And maybe try and latch on behind. Certainly a lot more horsepower out of the green car as opposed to the red car.
So he did a 33-4, 33-4. They both did similar lap times last lap, as you said. And now just running around together, which is
good showpiece for these independent race cars and how they look. They're beautiful looking race cars, that's for sure.
Combined, their best lap times are 32.7. So if they could string the fastest sectors together with Steve Lacey's fastest last sector, you'd end up with quite a fast prospective lap time there.
It's still not near what they are capable of, I don't think.
No,
I think there should be about a 30 dead at least. Given the tyres have had a fair bit of use today, this is the third time they've been on track.
Still, as you said, cool conditions, which can help with surface temperature of the track, I guess, for ultimate wear. But Taunton's not overhauling Steve here, so he might have just had a pickup issue out of the hairpin that lap, and that's what caused him to actually also weave left and right as we go further back and take a look at Lighthead, who has got crossing behind him. Yeah, it's leading the time, but I'm sure I just saw crossing actually there behind him as he drops down. Yeah, crossing's got a Dorian issue, no doubt. He'll pop back up into position as he crosses the start line, but it mustn't be picking up on the sectors.
One of the sectors at least.
Yeah. So he'll pop back up into position now. There he is. 139.9.
And McCready in a 141.8. Quick improved production under 2 litre car. The current Nationals title holder in that category.
Two leaders continue to battle it out. There they are on screen. So Taunton right up behind Lacey and
now we might
to the inside.
Thought he might have been going to go through a hot lap. Not to be on this occasion.
Maybe he's just wanting to try to get an idea of how the setup differs across the two cars, so he can hang right behind Steve and just keep an eye on it.
Or to wait till they clear the Toyota 86 of Rolfer.
Yeah, see what happens here.
Just done now.
No doubt trying to get the draft still. He's moved around and followed Steve down the hill. You can see Donaldson at the top of the straight as well. So the Mark II car, a couple of seconds a lap off these guys at the moment. They both put in 34s that lap, so they're a little bit away from optimal pace now. And Donaldson at 135, so I don't think it's the battling slowing them down. I think they're probably not got the full grip potential, as you said, the 4th race of the day, so pretty well effectively in endurance mode, I guess you could say, a stint into a race, so would be looking to make a tyre change.
Lots of laps for the category, really.
Yeah.
You know, with four races across the weekend plus qualifying. They do practice on the Friday, so they are getting quite a bit of mileage out of a race weekend. And final round for this series is at Phillip Island at Island Magic.
That'll be very interesting to see down there in November. We may well get beautiful weather or terrible weather, depending on...
Or both in the same day.
Within the same race, even. Same lap sometimes when you get down there. Definitely looks like Taunton is stronger through the back section of the circuit, where he's able to get himself placed onto the lines as he needs to. The 0.2 of a second between the pair of them now. Not really much to say about that when they're visually that close together anyway. You don't need to look at the timing charts.
Taunton's car can run as sports sedan. They've opted to run it as a Marc car this weekend. It is in the Precision International Sports Sedan Championship or Series this year. And you may recall that with Cameron McLeod at the wheel, that it dominated the results at the Gold Coast last year in the round of the championship.
Squirrels on the brakes.
Yeah, maybe he was having a bit of a dig then.
Yeah. Here's Donaldson in 3rd place, sitting just 12 seconds behind the 2 leaders in the Mark II car.
They had an epic dice up at Queensland Raceway at the Super Series round, and even swapped positions on a few occasions in their races. They were running in the production sports category, I think, from memory, and certainly turned on some great performances between them.
Great noise from the Mark II Mustang as it comes over the hill, isn't it?
This car runs the Coyote engine, the other cars run the LS engine, whereas and the 2 Mark 1s, of course, run a Coyote engine as well.
Yep, as we see him come around the hairpin. It's a bit of a noise, like it isn't actually all that happy, Taunton's car coming out of the hairpin. Right on the shift cut down the back straight, it just sounded like it was popping a little bit on the last time by, so maybe, then again, as you said, if he's only got the 50% throttle allowed, it might be that he's hitting up against that very quickly.
But still, as one of those type of cars, what it loses out in top end, it certainly makes up for in the handling department.
Definitely. We've got a bit of debris on the track in the centre of the track there. That won't affect anybody, as Steve Lacey's opened up a half-second gap now. lead of this race, so he's probably starting to not feel as much pressure, though he was overall slower than Taunton on the last lap. So must have made it all up in the middle of the lap and then held on to it as we go back to them here, and that's a lot smaller than 0.5 of a second now. After things come up over the hill. Marc Cars battling for the lead of this race with 3.5 minutes remaining for the final race of the weekend before they head down to Phillip Island.
They'll probably go home before that.
Yeah, well, they're not going to go direct, that's for sure.
Well, they've got the Sports Sedan Championship race at Bathurst in November as well, so that'll be a priority, I would imagine, beforehand, and then head off to Phillip Island after that for the Marc Cars round.
Taunton just sitting in behind. We'll see if he's got enough to just pick his line and go past Lacey before the end of this race. As the pair of them continue their way down. Well, no last lap board yet with 2.5 minutes, or nearly 3 minutes remaining as they come down into turn one. Lacey's taking a slightly shallower line than Taunton at the initial turn in. We'll see if Taunton can look to the inside down into turn two. He had a bit of a squirrely lock-up a couple of laps ago. Definitely is able to close the gap.
He might have been looking to set a hot lap just to finish off the weekend, but it hasn't been a priority at this point.
I'd imagine, like I said, he might be just enjoying being able to see how the different car setup is. They might have put two different setups in the two different cars just to see how they ebb and flow around the circuit. Always collecting data.
I would dare say that if they're running, one's running as a sports sedan and one as a Marc car, they're different anyway.
That's true. I don't think it
compare, I guess.
Yeah, opportunities to compare. So Taunton still with the two fastest first two sectors, and Lacey holding on with the fastest last sector. Oh, he spun the car down into the hairpin. Taunton takes the long way round. Deary me.
Well, we didn't expect
unexpected. That. Lacey regathering the car. He'll have flat spots on 4 tyres there. That is not what he would have wanted down into the hairpin, that's for sure.
And lucky he didn't take his teammate out.
No. The way that car slid back, it would have been chaos. Definitely would have got Taunton's attention.
I probably got his attention anyway, but more so now.
Definitely, as he comes down.
So we've got
Creedy's re-entered the pits as well. Just in front
and
of us.
Rolfer's in the pits as well. So we're down to 5 cars. It's almost like a supercar grid at the moment.
Taunton makes his way down through turn 1 and 2. Steve Lacey there. You can see how much ground he lost with that slide. I think the thing was he defended to the inside, got on the dirty line and probably just pinched the brake, and then it's a bit too much rear brake rotated around on him. As Taunton makes his way over the hill, he's definitely not pushing this car at this point.
Yeah, just bring it home. We've got to think of the rest of the season. Still 2 more race meetings to take in before it's all over. One of them being on Mount Panorama and the other one at Phillip Island. The 2 best circuits in Australia, one would argue.
Good way to finish the season in these cars, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of people looking forward to it as they work their way around. Can't tell whether Steve's car's got a little misfire there or...
I think it's just where it's hitting the limiter maybe.
That's it, as Taunton comes around the hairpin. This might be our last lap. We're down to 8 seconds on the clock, so I didn't recall seeing a last lap board as they went by the last time, but I feel like there might have been, as Lacey closes back in on Taunton, 3.1 seconds behind after that spin. And Taunton's going to bring it home to be able to get I think they're looking for the photo across the line here of all the cars lined up together.
Have they queued the photographers for this one?
Has Lacey got the message that they need to finish second here? Oh, he picks up that bit of debris.
And hit the debris. And Donaldson had closed quite a bit up as well. He's only 3.9 seconds behind on that last lap. So their last laps were very slow. Taunton did a 140, Lacey a 134, and Donaldson a 133. So, yeah, tried to make it a bit close towards the end, but that's how it's finished up. Tim Leaf.
Oh, no. stopped at the hairpin on the final lap.
Did
See
he
if
have
can
a
just get it
spin?
home. There's a bit of smoke from the front left that could just be over. The brakes are quite hot.
So that's given that spot away to Crossing.
It has. Coxing's going to be able to bring it home for 4th place in the race here. That'll pick him up those championship points.
Yeah, probably
that
just
he
as well
needs.
he needed. It keeps his consistent record flowing.
We'll have to see how the point situation looks. Of course, you can find out heaps more information on the Marc Cars Australia Facebook page and website about this championship and how you too can get out there and go racing in these purpose-built race cars. As he comes across the line, Lighthead, Lighthead, of course, stopped around the back of the circuit. I don't think he'll be bringing it home. We'll see what the results look like for the end of this race. To round out this round for the Marc Cars Australia, Jeffrey Taunton, Stephen Lacey, Grant Donaldson, John Crossing, and Lighthead still recorded as a finisher there.
But I don't think he has.
No, I think he's still stuck around the back of the circuit. But that's all there is for this round of the Marc Cars Australia. We've enjoyed having them here with sports stands across the weekend at Sydney Motorsport Park. We'll head down to the pits to get a few words from our winners. And make sure to check out their Facebook page and website for more information. The calendar as well for 2025 will no doubt be released shortly. So make sure to keep across that. Thanks for joining us on Blendline TV. We'll catch you next time.